Welcome back. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. The MEA has come out with their first response to Donald Trump's H1B visa order. The government of India has said they've seen reports related to the proposed restrictions on the US H1B visa program. The full implications of the measure are being studied by all concerned, including by the Indian industry, which has already put out an initial analysis clarifying some perceptions related to the H1B program. Industry in both India and the US has a stake in innovation and creativity and can be expected to consult on the best path forward. Skill, talent, mobility in exchanges have contributed enormously to technology, development, innovation, economic growth, competitiveness and wealth creation in the US and India. Policymakers will therefore assess recent steps taken into account, mutual benefits, which include strong people-to-people ties between the two countries. This measure is likely to have humanitarian consequences by way of the disruption caused for families. Government hopes that these disruptions can be addressed suitably by US authorities. Ambassador Pradeep Kapoor, former diplomat, is joining us live. Ambassador Kapoor, what do you make of the Ministry of External Affairs' first response to this order signed by the Trump administration?
Well, India has normally a very humanitarian view of issues, and so it's very appropriate what they have said, because if I look at the individual level, there are about maybe 7 lakhs or more H1B visa holders working in the US. And of them, 3 out of 4 are of Indian origin, 75%, which is a very large percent. You can say about 500,000 people. So it is going to impact them directly, immediately, because to think of rule change whereby you have expectations of $100,000 per year fees plus $150,000 minimum salary means the expense on each company is $250,000 on every employee. Particularly, so if majority is from India, 15% is from China, and the remaining are from the rest of the world. So it is going to impact those individuals very, very significantly. It's going to impact those companies very significantly. It's going to impact those families phenomenally. So if you're traveling outside the US, for example, currently, your possibility to come back to the US is a question mark without paying these sort of heavy fees. The legal challenges to this sort of rule may be raised. There are a lot of lawyer for groups, etc., the channels, and a lot of discussions going on in those areas, in those groups also, as to the legal challenges. But I don't think the legal challenges will be sustainable, because the Trump administration has sort of built up this case with certain clauses which solidify its arguments against any legal challenges, which they had also used for the ban on the Muslim countries similarly. And they had been able to sustain it. So to that extent, it's not going to be easy. But at the country level, what we have to do is what we have to see what will be the impact on India. How do you react to such a serious matter in the short term, in the medium term, and in the long term? How do you create an ecosystem? Because what I see sitting here in Washington, D.C. is that the combination of the two, the brain power, the creative power, the innovative strengths, the so many strengths both the countries have. And when you synergize those strengths of India and US, what India lacks, US has. US has great universities, great capacities for setting up ecosystems. If you have had migration here from all over the world, which is contributing to the growth of America so significantly. And Indians have that capacity in terms of scientific skills, training, manpower, maths, computer, IT, etc., etc. So, merger of these two creates the best sort of synthesis for the world, for US, for India, and for the world. Now, if you disrupt this platform, you're also disrupting your own future. I'm talking about America. If I'm living in America, the students who are going to come for university training here, if you're not going to let them to work here, because with this, you are effectively ruling out their capacity, their possibility to work here. So they will have to go back to India. Less people will come here. So you are stifling, because Indians ultimately become Americans here, Indian Americans. I mean, we have examples here on the screen of 3 of the most eminent individuals: Purnima Nathji, Dr. Bharat Barai, Dr. Raj Bayani. Now they are all Indians, but they are Americans now. So you have created Americans. You have put them through the grind. You have put them through, created a mold whereby you are making gold out of it. You are making diamond out of it. You are making, the most precious people out of it, which is contributing to the future of your country, my country. So, how do you now disrupt that process? Because you are going to make sure that this is going to disrupt the entire base for people to be comfortable here. The American dream is going to be shattered. And for India to react to it, we will have to see how we create that world class ecosystem in terms of universities, in terms of upstream, downstream, midstream capacities for nurturing, fostering startups. I am from IIT Delhi. Now, IIT Delhi produces the maximum number of unicorns in the world. But where are they produced? Mostly in the US and secondly in India. So, if you are going to disrupt that entire process, you are going to disrupt your own future. Now, I can understand the basis, the argument by Trump and his team. They've said that very clearly, they've laid it out. It is a nightmare to be an American leader at this point of time because the debt that is facing you every day and it's going to give you nightmares. It's 36 trillion or 38 trillion as per the latest count. It is increasing day by day, not in month by month, hour by hour. It is increasing. Then your interest rates have been cut down recently by 0.25%. They may need to be further cut down to prevent immediate plunge into recession. Then your job numbers are going down. Then your cost is going up. Your inflation is going up. So gas prices are going up. Energy prices are going up. So it's a very difficult situation. I understand. You want to create jobs. You have put tariffs on India and other countries. Now you don't have those manufacturing skills in the US. You have to create those skills again. You have to
Yes.
recreate those skills. You have to
Yes.
co-create those skills. And India is a great partner for co-creating those skills now.
Now, is this
So
something, Ambassador Kapoor, that you believe will stand the test of law, or do you believe this will possibly be struck down or at least challenged in court?
it will be challenged in court definitely, but it will not stand the test of law because it will pass muster as some of the other bills have passed executive orders, and the whole ecosystem has changed here. Earlier, all these laws were by the Congress, House of Representatives would debate and draft these laws, then they would go through the process of getting approved in the House of Representatives, House of in the Senate, and then to the White House, and then implemented. Now it's turned topsy turvy. I was reading some articles about how the executive, the White House has usurped a lot of the powers through executive order. So all that due process has been completely jeopardized. So there is no great thinking or analysis. So it will pass, it will stand the test of law, but it will not stand the test of time. Time itself will be a great aspect which will have to take cognizance of the detrimental effects to US and to US interests in the long term and to US India relations in the short term immediately, and thereby changes will be made within a year is my estimate, if not earlier. Thank you.
Okay, let me in fact leave it at that with Ambassador Kapoor. Thank you for joining us with your perspective. Let me bring in Purnima Nath as well now, a Republican leader who's live with us. Purnima Nath, now as far as of course you're concerned, how do you react to the Indian MEA's first statement on this? India is saying it's going to study these developments very, very closely. Obviously, industry in US and India will be also looking at what the ramifications of this order are going to be.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it. First of all, I would start with what Ambassador Kapoor said about executive orders, how America is being ruled by that. So far, Donald Trump, with his first term and this term, almost 400 executive orders have been signed, 383 to be specific. To let you know, the entire ecosystem of the Congress has been muted, literally sidelined. There's no conversation that is happening, and if a reporter or even somebody ask him how is it going to be passed, it's not specifically for this particular issue. Literally, he says that if it has to go through Congress, it will go through, but we know it's going to literally pass. I mean, it doesn't matter anymore. The conversations, the discussion, the discourse is wayside now. It's no longer there at this point of time. What we're seeing internally, the journalist and the media is getting suppressed and stifled, unfortunately so. So I'm not sure exactly what the definition of democracy that our country, America, is being holding across the world and showing that this is the most supreme country that everybody has to hear. I am extremely disappointed for the fact that in this particular case for H1B, $100,000 you slap on these people, literally the majority of the stake is going to be Indian people. Now, I'll tell you something that Ambassador said that American Indians are becoming Americans. I'll tell you something. One of the very prominent activists said specifically America is going to stay America even if it is 90% Indians. But the caveat is if these people are actually Christians. When we talk about brown Hindu Indian Americans, we are not welcome over here. And this is something is very clear. And the H1B discussion has made it extremely crystal clear. There is no ifs and buts and doubts about it. And now, when we go about this slapping of $100,000, let's say, let me give you some statistics for Mr. Donald Trump itself. Our first lady, Melania Trump, apparently came in visitor visa, worked under it allegedly, and then applied for H1B visa. And miraculously, she met then billionaire Trump, and then EB1 was processed for her, and some kind of genius visa, Einstein genius visa, was approved. A green card approved for her. Could you please tell me what genius she did bring from Slovenia? I can tell you, Indians are actually bringing technological skills. They're actually coming with skills to provide services and build product over in this country. Now, let me ask you something about Mr. Donald Trump himself. His great grandfather, Frederick Trump, came to America. Do you know what work he came with? Did he actually bring billions of dollars to America to invest? He was working as a barber and miners in this country. His mother, Mary MacLeod. When did she come to America? 1930. How did she come? From Scotland. Oh, how much money did she bring? Billions of dollars. What work was she doing in America? She was a housemaid, house helper. She was a servant. So I have to tell you this: when Donald Trump's attack dogs surround himself and tells that actually H1B is a high-skilled immigrant and that's how they have come in, I have no problem with that.
Poonamanath, now as far as, of course, this order though is concerned, will it stand the course of time in the courts? Will it be struck down? Do you believe this is something now that will be a long-standing policy throughout this Trump administration? Or is this just a sort of political optics for the MAGA voter base?
Absolutely. I think this is only for 1 year. This is what I understand. I'm sure Democrats are going to take it to the court, and I'm sure Democrats
But because you are a Republican leader, your party is the one who's doing this.
Yes, and I'm talking about it and I'm calling out the hypocrisy. Just because I am a Republican doesn't mean that I have to bow down and I have to capitulate for everything. And at this point of time, you cannot criticize Donald Trump. Even I'm a Republican, even I'm a MAGA, I'm a MAGA because I actually supported going after illegal. I supported secured border. I supported national security, but I do not support blowing up boats. Not one, not twice, thrice, 3 boats in international water. I'm not supporting you America dictating India how to do business, who to do business with. So I have my limitations. Just because I care for this country, I'm not going to dictate you what you must do or what your sovereign decision should be. It goes the same way. I don't want anybody else to tell me what my sovereign decision should be. So this is the critical thing that for me as a Republican, as an American, at this point of time, the discussion is whether I'm an American at all, because they're questioning us. If I question Trump, they're questioning if I should go back to India. Why should I go back to India? How did Donald Trump become a citizen of America?
Okay, that's a good point. That's a good point. Purnima, thank you very much for joining us with your perspective on that big story. Let me also bring in now Ravi Karkara, founder Invest NYC Forum. He's joining us live as well. Ravi Karkara, what do you make of this order and how the Indian government so far has responded to it?
Honestly, my take has been on a silver lining, because I really think, of course, there is the jolt to many people who have been relying on the H1B. But I think the overall question is that we're looking at a global system. The economy is very different from 1990 when this came in. It was very much service to the IT sector, creating the Silicon Valley as we know it. But in 2025, we're looking at an AI-powered world economy where agents are doing your SaaS work. So we really don't need so many people. So honestly, for me, I'm looking at from completely a different lens. It is unfortunate, of course, but many of us who know this H1B has been in the discussion for many, many months. So it's not a surprise that a decision like this was taken. You also have noted that many CEOs have said that they agree with this decision. And if you wear a CEO hat or an employer hat, who can actually get a lot of this service and SaaS work done through agents and may not need so much of a human resource, because we are going to look at 30% reduction in not just in USA, across the world, in the way people have been doing SaaS work. So if you then see that, is this decision right? It was inevitable, right now. But definitely for me, the larger question is US needs a very thorough rehaul of the overall immigration system. It needs to really acknowledge and bring in skilled worker that needs to match. Just a data point for you. Last year, we had almost 750,000 shortage of AI engineers in the USA. 750,000. I'm just giving you those numbers, right? So if you're looking at creating this new economy, new system, you need upskill and skilled workers who can do that. And if you see from an India point of view, you asked a very good question.
Jane is in the
It's a
office.
great
Tell
opportunity
Smita
for
to take
India
him.
to retain. It's a great opportunity for India to retain talent, because I think India is also now looking at deep tech. It's moving away from just being a service oriented economy to say that we will look at manufacturing, we will look at creating more innovation. Some of the work I've been doing in India, US front, and the amazing work. Last 2 weeks ago, I was in Bangalore. It was amazing to see deep tech investments, the whole semiconductor. So we will need in India also equally extremely talented folks. So, and in terms of a very practical way, the hybrid work will continue. So people who will go through this jolt of H1B will probably pause. They will not come here. But will that mean that the company will stop giving them work? I doubt it, because you will look at working with those engineers, other people that will continue to work out of it. Google set up, it's one of the biggest, offices in Hyderabad. So we'll probably see more of those mushrooming bigger offices, but I think the nature will be very different. So yes, if you wanted the American dream and come to America, great. I'm sure there are many other ways, but I really recommend that all parties need to look at. Look at Canada, look at Australia. You're looking at a merit-based system based on a scientifically proven that this is the skill gap. These are the engineers we need, and I'm also going to
Yes.
predict that there will
Ravi,
be a
also
backlash
now,
on this
how
decision.
will companies circumvent this? Like TCS, Amazon, Meta, they've of course issued, advisories to their H1B visa holders currently to return back. How are companies dealing with this?
I think, like I said, the hybrid model is where the companies will have to look at, if people can, like a miracle come back by 21st of September. Of course, there are going to be different implications, but then you also have extremely talented people where company will say, okay, I'm going to shell out my 100,000 and say that I need X person to come because this is the work will be done by X person based on her or his skills. But there will be other where companies will have to make a decision to strengthen their teams in India or other parts of the world because they want to continue to do the work. And honestly, after COVID, the world has changed the way we work. It's hybrid way of working. I work from India to Dubai to New York, back and forth, and the work continues, right? You're almost working 18 to 24 hours looking at the time zone. So I think this will be one thing, but I'm also, I feel very strongly that you will hear a backtracking of this because I don't think you can just say 100,000. But it's a completely different world economy. The service industry has changed. The way we want to employ people is totally different from the way it was 1990 or 2000. The agents have taken over, they're taking over every day. I work with companies to make that transition from AI readiness, AI first, right? and those people are saying that I want to become more efficient. Yes, I want my present team to be there, but I want to make more profit and more efficiency. That would mean less people. It's a fact. And the sooner we wake up to an AI-powered world economy, which is different from a service-based world economy, we need to be very clear. It's going to be like that. So I think India has a huge opportunity. And in my LinkedIn post and my X, I've said that see this as a silver lining to really retain some important
Okay.
talent which India often lost.
Thank you,
So
Ravi,
thank you so
for
much.
joining us with your perspective on that story. Let me also bring in now Bharat Barai, foreign affairs expert, who's joining us now live. Bharat, your initial takeaways on this order, its implications, and also the MEA's first statement on it from India.
This is a totally irresponsible order, legislating through the White House using small band of advisors. The Congress has power to impose the fees. The Congress had said that the fees that should be imposed for visa will be to cover the cost of processing the applications. I don't think that Congress ever authorized him to charge whatever fees that he thinks is appropriate. So in my opinion, the challenge will be on the basis of President trying to legislate sitting in the White House what Congress has said should be done by the Congress. So that will be the basis for legal challenge. Question is, will the legal challenges be upheld? As you know, the judges that are appointed in US are partly political, either appointed by Democratic presidents or Republican presidents. They don't always go along with the philosophy of the sitting president. And I don't know what will be at the appellate court and finally how the Supreme Court will rule, because many of the proclamations that President has made has ended up going to the courts or are in the various stages of being adjudicated by the court. So that is the legal part of it. When it comes to the individual companies, yes, it will affect them, especially the smaller and medium-sized businesses which rely on them. The whole idea that the Americans will take the job does not make sense. If you look at the structure of the universities, when it comes to science, math, the number of people at the undergraduate levels are about 50 to 60% local Americans, that is white-skinned Americans. When it goes to the master's level, almost 80% are people who have come or have ancestry from other countries. And when you go at the PhD level, less than 10% are the white Americans. So you don't have that talent available in USA. Many people in USA, they want to go for easy things like
Yes.
sales, marketing, law, all those kinds of things. People don't want to go through hard sciences. So the companies will be affected. The individuals, 71% of whom came from India in 2023, they will be affected. Now, when it comes to software, as they mentioned, yes, the software stations will be positioned in India or other places, and the softwares don't require H1B visa. The electrons don't require H1B visa or passport, so they will be transmitted electronically. So they might be able to get the job done by outsourcing. When it comes to hardware or when it comes to innovation, it will no longer belong to USA. If you see the number of companies, whether it is in the field of artificial intelligence or the quantum computing, most of the companies that have come up, they have come up by people who came from other countries. Elon Musk came on a student visa, then converted to H1B, then became the US citizen, and he is one of the most brilliant person who has founded so many companies in USA. And you can see there are many examples of that. So I think, if you ask me, this is a suicidal move by the Trump, very poorly advised by people, and it will be detrimental to the United States. As Ravi Bhai mentioned, yes, with artificial intelligence, there may be need for few work.
Okay, now, and also, Bharat, very quickly about, the fact that whether you believe now, if it is not challenged, if this does indeed stay as a policy for the next 3.5 years, do you believe the brain drain will get reversed a bit? Those going to the United States will perhaps stay back in India, or will they look at other avenues? Will US's loss be India's gain, or perhaps Europe's, or maybe China's?
The answer
Bharat?
is yes. Yes, absolutely. The gain of India will be great because many people, they may not go to study because they are not going to be able to repay their loans. B, they will not be employed. So, and those who are already in India, they may not be able to come back. So it definitely will be gain for India, maybe over a period of short to long term, but it will also be gain maybe for Europe. The greatest language barrier is with Europe. If Europe an English-speaking country except for UK, yes, they will benefit a lot.
Okay, let me in fact quickly take that across to you now. Let me of course thank you first, Bharat Barai, for joining us with your perspective on that story, and also take that to Dr. Raj Bhayani, President, Federation of Indian Physicians Association, who's joining us live. Dr. Bhayani, what do you make of this order? Also, Dr. Bhayani, the MEA responding to it, your first reaction?
So the basis what Trump administration is claiming that it is for the protecting American job, that itself is of the false premise. That's number one. And then we have to actually divide these H1B jobs into three categories. One is the Google, Meta, and all this Microsoft, where they hire the top talent. And I believe they will absorb the cost of $100,000, and these IITians who come from India, they will be hired and they will be retained. The number two category is where the Wipro and Infosys and Tata Consultancy, TCS, sending the people from India here on H1B. There, the companies will have to figure out that whether the cost of visa, $100,000, the salary, and hiring people in US, the difference between the two, the delta, is it worth keeping them or not? So that's where you will see some impact. And the third category is people who are coming in, as you see, bread and butter H1B visa. They work as a programmers. They were sent by TCS and Wipro here, but then once they come here, they switch job to local as a program managers, and those are the ones which will be easily replaceable, and most likely all of them will have to go back. As we just statistics wise, there are about 450,000 Indians on H1B, out of which I would say half of them will probably have to go back, because this is not a 1 year thing. What they're saying is they're going to charge this every year when you reapply. So that assumption that this is going to end after 1 year is wrong, as per at least current understanding is. So the question is going to be, as one of our speakers mentioned before, a lot of these can be done remotely. So what will happen is the IT parks in India will see a lot more opportunities, and a lot of jobs will transfer to India, which people were doing in person here. And it is very easily doable now. As far as the impact on India is concerned, means in general, always Indian government has been saying that, okay, retaining the local talent is always India government's top priority. So they won't feel as much of an issue about it here. And in the big picture though, this is actually just not an isolated issue. This is about the Indo-US relationship, which is at absolutely going downhill since that Pahalgam attack happened. Trump went on TV and said, I made a peace. Unfortunately, we should have played it down, but instead of that, we countered that claim, and it made Trump very, very upset. Since that, he is on vendetta.
Right.
So since
Also,
that
Dr.
is the
Bhayani, now as far as, of course, the impact on the companies there who will be affected because of these high applications, how will they circumvent this? Will they look elsewhere? How will they circumvent it? What will their strategy be? Companies like TCS and others.
Yes, obviously, as you see, the stocks of all these companies have gone down by above 5%
I'm
today.
sure. Yeah.
TCS, Wipro, and all these companies have stocks have gone down. So definitely, it will impact their bottom line. They will have to look for the opportunities out of US, in Europe, Australia, Japan, and even in China, as Indo-Chinese relationships getting warmer, we might see some opportunities there. But the bigger impact is in US, as Bharat mentioned, that the top talents will be hesitant to come to America. So as an American who is sitting here and also Indian, this is truly a big concern because so many startups happen in Silicon Valley are majority are actually led by Indians or funded by Indians. And you just see all the big tech companies should surprisingly, I'm kind of disappointed with our Sundar Pichai and Satya Nadella and all these people. How come they are not coming out, at least in some way, behind the scene to persuade Trump administration? I believe they need to take a bigger role in Indo-US relationship in general, because our common people, as Purnima said, we also supported Trump, but we are not getting any access to the make Trump hear from us. But these big tech CEOs have responsibility to convey in a way where they will be heard, to tell Trump, hey, look, all right, there was some mistake from Indian diplomacy side, but let's pass beyond that and look at the bigger picture, because this is not going to stop here. The problem is, as you see, the Indo-US relationship has gone down, sanctions and tariffs and this H1B and then students coming to
Yes.
universities. And now there is no end to it. He's going
Okay.
to find more reasons and
Point
more
taken.
ways
Dr.
to
Bayani,
punish
thank you very
India.
much for joining us with your perspective on that big story. Now, as 2025 is all set to come to an end, parts of the world will be witnessing a partial solar eclipse. In Indian time, the eclipse will start at 10:59 p.m. and at 3:23 a.m. IST. The partial eclipse will be visible across several southern hemisphere countries. Let's in fact explain to you a bit more about what is going to happen and what really is an eclipse for those of our viewers who don't quite know. So let's first explain to you what exactly is in fact an eclipse. Could we please put that out for our viewers? What an eclipse is. Okay, we're going to put that out in just a second, but we're taking a very short break. We're back on the other side with lots more. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be telling you more about the eclipse in the United States, big move, and much more on the other side.